Hi, fans of high quality entertainment. Once in a while, one of my viewers will suggest a video idea for me. I don't need anybody's help, okay? But sometimes I take their suggestion. I'm just joking, by the way. Some people don't have a sense of humor. Richardson Family 7594 yesterday said another suggestion. Top 10 favorite artists not in your CD collection. What a stupid idea. And I am going to do a video on it. Although, being serious for a minute, or a few minutes, it's kind of the same idea, but what I've done instead is I've chosen one certain album by 10 artists that aren't in my collection, but the one album by each of these artists that I would want the most. And I've actually, and of course, there's more than these 10, but these are the ones that I thought of, today. And they are ranked from the one, I still would like to have it in my collection, but it's the least one that I want, to the one I desire the most. So here we go, and thank you, Richardson Family 7594. So number 10. Yeah, I did. I had, was it called Desolation Boulevard on vinyl back in whenever that was released, about 1975 or so. And I did buy, yeah, I had this one too. I had this one on vinyl back in, what year would this be? 77, 78. But I never really totally got into Sweet, even though I love some of their songs. Of course, Ballroom Blitz is a classic. And what kind of drew me to them again, uh, a year or two ago when I was watching some of their live footage from back in the day, and they were actually, they weren't lip syncing, they were actually performing live. And I was really impressed with what a great band they really were. And I understand, they started off as this teeny bopper band, Little Willie and other songs like that. Even those were kind of catchy. But later on, they did their own music and they wrote their own songs, and they were a great band. So I wouldn't mind having, and starting with maybe, and I think there's an earlier one too that's been really that's really had pretty good ratings. But I wouldn't mind starting with "Give Us a Wink." So that's number 10. Number 9 is, yeah, Gentle Giant. Once again, I had this on vinyl back in 1975. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I did like it. But that being said, I'm kind of curious. I've heard some of their music through the years, and they were definitely a very, very talented band. And of the albums I've heard, online or whatever, this is the one that I've liked the most. So if I was going to start my CD collection with Gentle Giant, I would start with probably Freehand, but I'm sure any of their albums would be great. And also, please remember to like this video and also leave a comment below of when I show you all of these 10 albums. Let me know which ones you have. And maybe you can also recommend some other albums by these artists. Number 8. Yeah, some 60s music. Strawberry Alarm Clock. And was it Ed? I think Ed King, I believe. He he was in this band, and he later went on to play with Lynyrd Skynyrd in the early years. And I've read up on this album, and I just, I've actually listened to it on Spotify, some of it, and it sounds very interesting. So I wouldn't mind having that in my CD collection. What's their song? Incense and Peppermint? Is that the one? I was trying to think of what was their big hit. Incense and Peppermint? I think that was, yeah. But yeah, Strawberry Alarm Clock. Number 7. Prince. Yeah, I don't have any Prince on CD. I did have this album and Purple Rain and I think a couple of others in the 80s. But of all of the albums I would want on CD, I think I would want Around the World. What's that called? Around the World in 80 Days or whatever. It's hard to read. Around the World in a Day. That's it. Yeah, he was just a very talented artist and awesome guitarist and musician in general and songwriter. And I just never got it on CD, but I enjoyed a lot of his records back in the 80s. Number 6. Yeah, once again, another 60s band, the Lemon Pipers. Of course, Green Tambourine is a great 60s song, if you know that. But the one I really love is, I guess it's the opening track on this album, Rice is Nice, one of my all-time favorite 60s songs. And I just love the unique vocals of the lead singer. And so, yeah, I'd love to have the Lemon Pipers in my CD collection. If anybody wants to send any of these CDs to me, just message me. Thank you. Number 5. Yeah. I've never even had Killing Joke on vinyl, but I love uh, the, the songs on this first album. I think The Weight is one of them. Yeah, I had to look it up. War Dance is awesome. Requiem. Uh, so I would definitely love to have their debut album, and also Love Like Blood, which was kind of a hit for them later on. I love that song also. And I've looked at their albums on Rate Your Music, and they're one of the most consistent bands for ratings. It's almost like all of their albums are really good. So, Killing Joke. Number 4. Yes, Quebec by Ween. Um, I did it was for when we were exchanging albums with Glenn Kellaway from the Basement and Rich Strickler and others, and somebody gave me this album. And so I listened to it online, and I loved it. I was really, really impressed. The only thing, and I was going to buy it on Amazon, but I don't know, it's like $30 on Amazon or even more. And it's like, I'm not paying $30 for a CD. I'm sorry. I'd rather somebody buy it for me and send it to me. Yeah, but I definitely would love to have, and even more than this in my collection, but I would like to start with Quebec by Ween. Number 3. Pere Ubu. That's right. I've heard about them for years and years. The Modern Dance is their, I believe, their debut album. And I've been doing some reactions on Patreon with this band. And also, just today for POW, uh, yeah, David Thomas and the Pedestrians, Pedestrian Walk, featuring Richard Thompson on guitar. And it was really good. But I've also checked out some of their early music on Spotify and YouTube, and I think I would more than this album, but just start with their debut album. Yeah, so I'd like to get that at some point. Pear Ubu. Do you have that in your collection? Number 2. This is a great idea I came up with. Yes. Good old memories. I was a huge Black Oak, Arkansas fan in the early 70s, about 70, whenever, I think this was 1973. And, their later studio albums weren't as good, like Street Party, I didn't really care for, but X-Rated was excellent. And their live album, Raunch and Roll. But this is the one I've always wanted on CD. But their early albums are really expensive to get on CD. So, hopefully someday they'll have like a box set of all their early studio albums. But I'd just like to get this one on CD. And one other memory is that I know that I didn't know about until later on was that had a gatefold. And us here in Canada got ripped off because there was no gatefold. So yeah, some of you might remember their hit song Jim Dandy, and of course the lead singer Jim Dandy, who supposedly David Lee Roth took a few lessons from, for stage performance. He was a fan. And so yeah, I really, I listen to this on Spotify sometimes, and I still love it. So, what is the number one that I can think of at the moment, the one CD and band that isn't in my CD collection? They never have been. I had this is the only album I had on vinyl back in the day, and I just really loved it. And I think I saw a box set at some point, but I haven't seen it recently. So I would like to get all. I think they did 3 albums in a row. Then they broke up, and they might have. I know that the lead singer has released some solo albums, but this is their third album is the one I definitely want to start with at least. It is The Only Ones. Baby's Got a Gun. I just love this album. And yeah, Peter, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, on the guy on the far left. Peter Perrett, very unique vocals, and just a great band. Of course, no surprise, he had some drug issues, back then, and so he kind of didn't do much for a few years, but he's been releasing solo albums, and I think the only ones have performed live in the last few years, so that's good to know. So yeah, my number one is The Only Ones, and that is it. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. And let me know which of these albums you do have and what other ones you would recommend.